Well, hello, budding freelancer. I am so excited for you to be watching this presentation. I am so proud of you for taking action on your goals and your dreams when it comes to your time, when it comes to your finances. I'm just so glad that you decided to take the leap because so many people say they want something and then they don't take the action to actually do it. And you did, so good on you. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Brittany Berlanch, by the way, from V.A.S.E Media Marketing. I'm a social media strategist, and today we're really going to be talking about what a social media manager is, what's the difference between a social media manager and a social media strategist, how you can get started, how to pick the perfect niche, how to get your first client, and then how to keep the clients happy when you get them so that you can get that recurring revenue month after month, and then also get referrals so you can get new clients. I'll go more into my story in a few minutes here, but I will say it's been a wild ride. I've had other revenue streams before this. Again, I'll talk a little bit about that too. And this is not my first business per se, but I just want you to know that by taking Chloe's courses and programs and all of the stuff that she has going on, you are saving yourself so much time because even though I've had success in other things, the fact that she has laid out so much for you, you really can just save a whole bunch of time. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about pitching today and how powerful that is, but we're also going to talk about what social media management is all about. And so if you're thinking about becoming a social media manager, or even if you've started but you haven't really gained traction yet, then I'm hoping that you get a ton out of this presentation, and I'll be sharing other ways that I can possibly help you and support you along your journey. Okay, here we go. So the title of my presentation is How to Replace Your Teacher Salary in Less than 2 months, because that is what I've done through freelancing. Like I said in the intro, I do have other businesses. I've done other kinds of revenue streams, and maybe that's where you've been too. You've been kind of seeking, trying to figure out which is going to work for you, or maybe your season of life is just changing, and so you're looking for something that a little less in front and behind the scenes when it comes to your time schedule, because the really cool thing about freelancing and then social media management specifically is you can really build your own schedule for the most part, which I'm super excited about. I think that's part of the freedom that comes with it. You can totally do this. It's just about focus, motivation, and confidence, and I'll talk about those things. But we had recently bought a house, and I was so excited about it. I'm still excited about it, but I was worried about the mortgage, y'all. I was like, how are we going to afford this? Because we had been living on a reservation, which was very, very cheap under market rent, and I had just kind of resigned to the fact that we were never going to be homeowners. So the fact that we've been able to afford a really beautiful home on acreage, I'm just stunned and amazed. Knowing that I have income coming in from freelancing is just so much breathing room there, because now all the other money I make is extra fun money, and then I have my income to, sustain us. So super exciting stuff. Let's talk about how you can replace your teacher salary in 2 months. And if you're not a teacher still, just how to have a full-time salary, right? Now notice I said full-time income, replacing the salary, not full-time work, because the goal here is to be helping you make as much money as possible, spending as little time as possible, and then also leveraging your time and making it so that you enjoy your work. Okay, so let's start with this. What is social media management? If you know any social media managers, then you've probably seen that they post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. There are so many different platforms. But before we get to the platform, there are some other questions we have to answer first. And it's important that we know what social media management is, because before you even know about niches, you need to make sure this is something you're going to want to do, because you have to be excited about it. Otherwise, it's just going to become another job, and we don't want that for you. Social media management is this combination between content creation, creating connections, creating communities, and then helping people along the customer journey. Content creation is probably what most of us think about, right? So like making text posts, making carousels on Instagram, making reels videos, I should say, short form video for YouTube Shorts, for Instagram Reels, for Facebook Reels. Facebook is doing Reels now too, as when I'm recording this. Lots of reach if you're doing stuff on Facebook. There is so much. Even though the client we're helping has content, they likely do, not always, but they likely have some kind of long form content like a blog, like a podcast, like a weekly live show. We're creating content, we're repurposing that content into social media posts to drive traffic to those long form contents and whatever email opt-in they have. But we're also creating content natively in those platforms. That is where I think I've made myself stand out, and that's a really good way that if you do social media management, you can make yourself stand out as well, because people want quality content. At the end of the day, all of the hashtag strategy, all of the tricks in the world for engagement are not going to matter if the content isn't good. So if you can get really good at content creation, you'll be in such a good spot. Okay, so creating connections, really quick about that. You have to be social. It's social media. You don't have to be super peppy and bubbly and outgoing and an extrovert to do this. Some amazing social media managers and strategists I know are introverts. It's not about that. It's about being fully yourself online and helping your client to do that, which can be really hard. There's a little bit of coaching in there too, because you're encouraging them to come out of their shell, to get visible, to put themselves out there. And then you're also helping them to do that with some done-for-you services. So you have to be social. You have to like connecting with people to be a social media manager. And then you're also creating communities, because you have to remember, especially if you do have a really powerful, big personality like me, if you don't, maybe you won't have as much of this problem. But with me, I have to be really careful as to make sure that the client is getting all the spotlight and attention, because we are helping them build their business at the end of the day. Yes, they're paying us, and so they're helping us build our business, but our job is to help them build theirs. So you want to connect others to whoever your client is and whatever services and products and offers they have, but you also want to connect them to each other. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok and you're doing social media management, this could be maybe starting conversations by replying to comments and saying like, oh, I saw someone else said this. One, this keeps them on the platform longer, which keeps whatever platform you're using happy. Two, it helps them build connections, so they're getting that added value whenever they're interacting with you, representing your client's brand. And then three, you want to give them more reason to come back, okay? Because now they're not just getting whatever content or value that they're getting from the post itself, they're actually getting an online community that they feel a part of, that they're contributing to. This is a big reason why I'm all about communities over audiences, because it's also creating that connection, making it past just coming where they can buy stuff, right? It's not just that. And then customer journeys. This requires a little bit of strategy, even if you're not going to be a social media strategist, which I'll talk about the difference in a second. You do want to know a little bit about the sales process, sales psychology, and the journey that someone takes from finding out about someone and their brand and their offers to actually making a purchase to then becoming a customer for life and making referrals. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. A little bit of marketing knowledge is super helpful. Really important to remember, your client is your boss. I know that can be hard. A lot of us want to leave businesses because we don't want to have a boss anymore. But anytime we're in customer service or we're service providers, our bosses are either our customers, if we're TPT sellers, for example, or our clients if we're doing some kind of service work or freelancing. And that's not to say they're always right. Of course, you can be professional and represent yourself well, but we want to make them happy because they're paying us, and also we want to do a good job. It's also beneficial for you. And we want to remember that their customer is their own hero. So when you're creating content, you don't just want to be thinking about what your client wants, but what does their customer need? Because in a way, you're inadvertently serving them too with the content you create. So good things to think about. And if that all sounds like a fun challenge for you, you like testing things, trying things out and creating, then you'd probably love being a social media manager. Okay, so that's like the basics, but what does a great social media manager do every day? So they create, obviously. This is a mix of text posts, carousels, reels, obviously right now are really important, stories. You can get creative with this. You can either do like text stories or sharing others' content, or you can get on there yourself. It depends on what you and your client want, but stories are really important for nurturing the existing followers you have, which is really big on any platform. When I say creating content, creating good content, creating content based off the data that you have from either past clients or from your own personal work, doing your own thing as a content creator, and researching, like paying attention to what's trending, what's working, what do people want, what does that client's customer specifically want. So creating good content. And with that, I've already mentioned research. Now, we don't want to be clickbaity, but we do want to have click-worthy headlines, whether you're creating a podcast or a blog post. It's the same thing with social media. Just like how on Teachers Pay Teachers, a product listing will have a snippet, the first 3 to 4 lines or sentences where using keywords is really important. Google actually is starting to index a lot of social media content. Your clients will be embedding social media posts into their long form content like podcasts, like blog posts. We want to always use keywords and also relevant hashtags where our customers are hanging out. So there is a little bit of strategy and research in there. So you have to be willing to do that. And that has to excite you a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. Paying attention to those things and being willing to look more into them will make you a great one. And then scheduling. This is more for your sanity, but also to make sure things get delivered. There is no worse feeling than thinking, I didn't get everything I needed done today. My client's going to be unhappy. They're not going to have what they need. So learning how to batch create things and schedule your time out in a way that leverages your time so you have more time to do what you actually want is amazing. And then, of course, engagement. That's a big part of it. Connecting with customers, asking questions to get them to engage more and to learn more about them so that your client gets the information they need to create better products, offer services, and stuff that sell. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to help our client get more sales. Okay, well, we talked about social media managers. We talked about what makes a great social media manager. Let's talk really quickly about what a social media strategist does. Sometimes you might do both. I do a little bit of both, but some people might like being a social media manager better than a strategist, or vice versa. If you like the actual engaging part, connecting with people, some content creation, but you don't really want to go as heavily into the data and the metrics and KPIs and stuff like that, it's usually a lower ticket service to offer social media management, but it is lighter on the strategy and the data piece. If that's what you like, you can just get a few more clients, and you could even offer a quality rate, right? One that pays you, but you don't have to do that stuff as much, and that can be not as time intensive because you can schedule a batch 30 days in advance, and then you just go into groups or onto Instagram accounts every day to engage. But if you're going to be a social media strategist, you have to dig deeper. You have to know what's working in the marketing space. You have to be paying attention to what leaders of platforms are saying. There is a little more of a time commitment there. So it's very data heavy, knowing about UTM codes and how they work so you can track these things and let your client know what's working, what's not. You need to know how to interpret and present data. Understanding conversions, click-through rates, all that stuff is really important. And then you have to be able to make data-driven decisions because nobody wants crappy content. The customers don't want it. Your client doesn't want it. You don't want it. You want to create amazing content. And then social media strategists also help to design and launch organic campaigns. What that just means is launching products, right? So helping them get more eyes, more sales, and all that. An ad strategist might help you do a paid campaign. We focus on organic. Say you want to be a social media strategist, how do you pick your niche? How do you figure out which platform or platforms you want to focus on? I do recommend starting with one, getting really good at it and getting known for that, and then you can add on if you'd like. First, think about your experience. What do you have experience with? If you have built your own Teachers Pay Teacher store or brand, for example, or maybe you're a content creator yourself, then it would be a really natural transition to start providing services for whatever platform you grew the most on. So if you're really good at Instagram, you have a really engaged community there, start with Instagram. Offer services there about helping clients grow their Instagram accounts and get sales through there. That'll be a really natural fit. And then if you want to add it on more later, you can. And then enjoyment. What do you actually like doing? If you consider Instagram to be a toxic place, then don't do Instagram. If you think Facebook is dead, everybody keeps saying that, but I'm having success on there. Don't worry about what anyone else says. What do you like to do? And be honest with yourself. Don't just convince yourself that, oh, this is a moneymaker, this is what I should be doing. Don't do that. Focus on what you want to do. And then if you want to, once you build up a client base, if you want to add those other things on there, great, you can. But focus on what you like, focus on what you know, and then go from there. And then excitement. Who are you excited to work with? Obviously, in this niche, a lot of us serve TPT sellers, teacherpreneurs, maybe even other service providers who are looking to launch with social media strategy, right? But you have to really want to work with them. And this isn't to say that clients won't sometimes frustrate you or not give you what you're expecting or whatever, because we're people. And anytime you work with people, there's going to be some kind of conflict. That's just how it is. But think about who you're most excited to work with, because maybe you might find out that you don't want to work with TPT sellers, or maybe you specifically want to work with secondary sellers. Think about what kind of content you like to create, what you have experience with. Maybe it's not even your actual social media experience, but your personal experience. If you've been a kindergarten teacher for 10 years, that's kind of your added value, right? If someone has a kindergarten TPT store and you've been a kindergarten teacher, like you can be reading copy for them and making suggestions and saying, oh, I think this will resonate better. So think about your personal experience and you and your personality and how can you add value about how you can really set yourself apart and make yourself a no-brainer offer deal. All right. And then effort. You also have to be practical. What's going to make sense for your money goals and your schedule? I know that most freelancers become freelancers because they want to get more in control of their time. Obviously, we want to make more money. And a lot of us want to leave teaching or have at least the ability to do that. But you also have to think about your schedule. Even if you think that teaching is taking up all your time now, I assure you, whatever it is you end up doing can also end up sucking all of your time. I know freelancers, and I have done it myself, and I have to sometimes escape from that trap of feeling like I have to work even more to make more money because I'm technically trading my time and my expertise for money. So I need to get more clients. I need to do more work. I need to be working more hours. I need to wake up earlier or stay up later, especially if you want to provide quality service. So you really have to set your own boundaries with yourself for your time. Like, what is your actual work schedule for the day? How much do you want to work per week? And then also being honest with yourself and how long certain tasks take. When you're batch creating and scheduling content, how long does that take you? At the beginning, things will probably take you longer, and then over time you'll get more efficient and more effective, right? But be honest with where you're at. Don't judge yourself for where you think you should be or what you think you should like or what you think you should want to do. Be totally honest in yourself. As cheesy as it sounds, that's kind of the secret to content creation, right? Showing up online as yourself will always help you get more sales and connect with people better and create compelling content that converts. Okay, so really quickly, let's talk about nano niches within social media management. What's hot right now is short form video, Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts. And the cool thing about that is once you create actual video recordings, you can do some little tricks to repurpose a Instagram reel for Facebook reel, or some people will say against this, but you could repurpose an Instagram reel for TikTok, for YouTube Shorts, all that stuff. So there are things you can do, but short form video, if you can master that, it's really hot right now, and that can at least get you started, and then you can transition. Now, don't do it if you hate it, okay? Only if you like it. And then obviously you can focus on a platform-specific thing like Instagram or Facebook groups. And I put groups and pages together because they do go well together, but if you just want to do groups, you can do that. Don't believe what other people are saying. I mean, I'm biased too, right? I'm going to say groups are better because I focus on groups, but I also focus on groups because they get me results. So just consider what anyone who is selling something says, right? Like take it with a grain of salt. But that is something you want to think about is what platform and then what kind of content on the platform. And then Twitter. I don't see a lot of people focus on Twitter, but Twitter is huge for the education space, especially if you're a podcaster or a blogger, or if your client is. So things to think about. The title was How You Can Replace Your Teacher Salary in 2 months or Less. And that all starts with getting your first client. So how do you do that? It's hard, right? It's hard to say, I'm an expert and this is what I do when you don't really have any social proof yet. Social proof just means like screenshots or showing success. And that can be really hard. My answer here is a little bit woo-woo and energetic, but it really does come down to what you believe and how you present yourself. So confidence is a huge part of that. You need to have confidence in your offer and in your ability to provide that offer. So that's why I say make sure that you pick a niche that's enjoyable, that excites you, that you feel like you can put effort into and make it good, because that'll help with your confidence. And then when you pitch yourself, you'll be more likely to have it go through, okay? And it also comes down to motivation. You have to have a really strong why. I didn't really talk about that today, but why you want to freelance. Like, what is it that you're trying to get out of or escape from? What is it you're trying to work towards? That is going to drive you when things get hard, because they're going to. That's just how it works. And your first client isn't always your best client. I'm going to put that out there too. The traditional way TPT sellers get their sales is through content marketing like blogging, podcasting, YouTube, etc., and list building. But I will say this is slower. So it's a great long-term strategy. It's not super quick though. One of the fastest ways, and this is partially how I did it, was through networking and collaboration. So it's really important to join the right Facebook groups and to figure out where to go that people are already searching for it. And not just that, but they're actively searching for it. Like they're checking these groups. And you may already know about some of them, but I actually have a list of groups for TPT sellers and teacherpreneurs that are really good places for you to go in, because you need to know your client, but you also need to know your client's customer. And if you can show your client that you know their customers and you're going to create content for them, you'll be in such a good place. So definitely get that group guide if you don't get anything else. Cold pitching is one way. A lot of people don't feel comfortable doing this, but you could just email sellers that you really admire, heartfelt emails, and say, hey, I love what you're doing. I've noticed that, and be honest, but also be tactful. If someone isn't consistent with their social media, they might already know that and might feel really subconscious about it. So you could just say, hey, I noticed that your content is really good, but you haven't posted in a while. I was wondering if you need any help with social media. Can I help you? And if not, do you know anyone else who is? That gives them a polite way to say no, and maybe even a way to give you a referral. You don't have to do that though. It is a little more of an assertive in your face way. Or warm pitching. You can comment on someone else's post who's looking for something and just say, hey, I do that. With that, this comes with a confidence piece in pitching yourself. Don't say, oh yeah, I'm starting to do that, or I'm new. It could be true, but if you can get yourself into the energy of like, oh no, I am this, I've been doing it, you're going to get way better results. And that's why I also said make sure you pick the right niche, because if you have grown your own personal Instagram account, even if you've never had a paid client, that Instagram account that you have grown is your own social proof. You have proof of success there, and you're showing them, look, I can do this for you too. Okay, that's something really big I recommend, because a lot of VAs or social media managers even, they'll work for free, or they'll give a whole bunch of content away for free, but then they'll never get into paying clients, because the people who are looking for free work are probably not going to be a paying client. That's just how it is. And it is helpful for testimonials, but you can use your own work as testimonials if you don't want to work for free or if you're ready to start getting paid. And then finally, referrals and list building. So that comes from having really good customer service so that they keep you on and that they refer you to other people through networking and through email marketing with the list that you have that you've built through content marketing or through referrals and all that stuff. Keeping your clients happy. Obviously, we want to keep our word. We want to be people of integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it and then over deliver. Make it even better than they expected. See how you can go above and beyond. And by doing that, it just means like doing your research, get to know their brand. What are their goals? Get to know them as a person and as a CEO. What is their hope for their business? And what extra surprises could you sprinkle in to make them happy? With travel, I think this is even easier to visualize. For example, I pay attention to who's going on each trip. I have 1 week where I have archaeologists going there. And I actually have someone who's leading that trip is also an archaeologist. She actually focuses on travel archaeology. Anyway, she has specifically planned for different Roman ruins for that group to see because she knows archaeologists are going. Just imagine that extra personal touch of like, we listened to you, we paid attention to what you like, and we're adding that in for free, no extra cost. Because it is free, basically. It's going to cost like 3 cents to drive out of the way, right? So little things like that. Things that don't require a lot more of your time, but just showing that you care, like really good quality gifts and quality use of your time. Think about how you can do that. So I told you all that stuff. Who is this girl and why should you listen to me? Really quick about my story. After my first year teaching, I've only been teaching for 5 years, but after my first year, 2017, I knew that this was not going to be for me. I knew it wouldn't be long term, and I thought maybe this was just because I was a first year teacher and I was really stressed out. And so I stuck it out. I wanted to be the teacher who tried and tried and tried. As much as I wanted to, all the things that excited me were actually outside of directly serving students, which is sad to say. I love teaching, but I like this other stuff more. And I didn't like all the other stuff that came with it. The stuff that kind of sucked the fun out of teaching. I'm sure you can think of like 5 of those things if you've been a teacher or if you're teaching right now. So I started thinking about what do I love? What excites me? What do I enjoy not only doing but sharing with other people? And who do I like working with? I figured out that I love working with teachers who want more time freedom, who want to make more money, but who also want to travel more. So I started showing teachers ways to travel better. I started organizing group trips for teachers like the Croatia yacht trip we're doing this summer. All these fun things. Became a certified travel agent so I could earn the commissions that way. I built a community which really helped on Facebook with Facebook groups, which is what I used to build social proof for my social media management services. Got pretty good at that. And then alongside of that, I was building a network marketing business, MLM. The travel agency that I work with, they also partner with an MLM company. Don't worry, I'm not going to pitch that to you right now. But they work really well together because then I had some folks who were like, I want to be an agent, but I also have lots of friends and family who travel and they're not going to want to book with me. And so they would become a network marketer just so they could use the affiliate link to help other people get started and get a commission for that. Anyway, with my very low pressure way of sales and with what I've learned about social media and building communities, I was able to rise to the top 3% of my network marketing company, which I feel really proud of that. And I still have big goals with it. I'm still growing it. But my team in last year during the pandemic, my team made over $200,000 in travel sales, not network marketing sales. This is just travel sales. So excluding me, they made $200,000 in sales. And actually, sorry, that's not true. One of the agents is already at $100,000 herself. So actually it would be $300,000. So I'm just saying there's so much money out there. And by the way, my niche for travel is teachers. Don't think that they don't have money to hire you. They do. I will say if you're outside of the teacher niche, there are other people who have more money too that they'll hire you. But I just want you to know, like, don't let yourself believe those thoughts. You can definitely make money as a social media manager or as a freelancer in the teacher and TPT seller space. Okay, but who cares about that? Who cares about like what I can do, right? The question you have is how can you do all of that quickly? So I'm going to tell you what I did, the how, so you can do that too. I learned to be exactly myself. I know it sounds so cheesy, but here's the deal. I have a very strong personality. The same thing that makes me good at sales is the same thing that can sometimes intimidate people about me. I try to come off as friendly and fun, but because I'm so excited, because I'm a very passionate person, and because I am in your face, that can be a lot for people, and it's not for everyone. I had to learn very early on that I have to be okay with not being for everyone and to be myself 100% online. Because think about it. As teachers, we're learned to be proper, to be professional, to not have any typos. God forbid you have grammar stuff in your comments. But actually writing exactly how I talk and being myself online is exactly what's helped me to build a personal brand myself in travel. It's helped me to build a personal brand as a social media marketer, and then also starting to help other SMMs as I build an agency, which I can't speak on that yet. I'm still learning that part. So learn to be exactly yourself. And that comes with a little bit of personal development and self-reflection. Who are you? And then how does that show up as you as an entrepreneur? I decided to focus on what's fun. There are certain things I do not like to do. And I'm not saying that you can avoid doing things that you don't want to do eventually. But with my business, I figured out that social media, that connecting with people, that talking about travel, all the things I like, I started connecting and going 100% on those, and not focusing on things I didn't like as much. And that is where I really saw growth. I knew that I love building genuine connections with people, and I knew that I had some inherent sales skills, and I just really honed in on that. I became obsessed with Facebook groups in general. Now I'm learning all about Instagram too. So I decided to focus on what I like doing, what I'm already good at, who I want to work with. And I work with more than one person. You don't have to be limited to just TPT sellers, okay? Because I do a lot of work with travel agents too, obviously. But my offers are a little bit different for teacher sellers because they make less money per month typically than agents who are really focusing on their businesses. This is where SMMs really struggle though. They usually really struggle with the sales and the pitching. I was thinking about this. It's hard because you have to have that internal confidence that comes from 100% believing in your ability to show up and provide for that client, and also in your ability to do whatever it is that you're going to do. So growing a Facebook group, building a community on Instagram, creating short form content on TikTok, whatever it is, you have to have confidence in it, which will help you be better at sales. And you have to be just like committed to it is the best way I can say it. So the more that you can build your skills in sales, the better. And how do you get better at that? Honestly, through learning and practice. I also want to bust a myth that says that you have to be outgoing, extroverted, super sparkly, and peppy. You don't. Like I said, I work with some amazing social media managers who are introverted. I think Chloe's introverted too, right? Let me know, Chloe. I think she's introverted too, and she's obviously built this amazing 6-figure business. Be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. I tried to be like an influencer for the first year of my travel stuff, and now, ironically, I'm kind of an influencer in a way, but I tried to be a certain kind of travel influencer. You could probably picture it if you follow any travel Instagram accounts. And it just wasn't me. It didn't fit, and so it didn't work. So once I was really myself, I was like, look guys, I don't really dress up. I wear t-shirts when I travel. I am all about comfort. That resonated with certain people. So think about how you can 100% be yourself online, and think about that for your building your personal brand as well. But you need to learn and practice, right? So obviously you're in a good spot with Chloe's course. I wanted to share this. This is just some sales from last week of my travel agent. So the number on the left is their commission. The number on the right is my percentage of commission. Since it's a travel agency, I get a 10% match. This is possible for you. What's even better about this than doing like commission-based is that you can set your rates. So I have one client who's paying me $700 a month. I have another proposal, if it goes through, $2,500 a month. I have another client about $400 a month. There's so much you can do there. Honestly, packaging and pricing is a whole beast, and I think Chloe's going through that with you guys. But don't limit yourself. You can make really good money. And again, this is from not freelancing 2 months ago. Now, I did have some sales experience that helped, right? But I've done a lot of social media for myself. So I showed up very confidently. I knew what I was offering. I knew my offers. 2 months, I replaced my teaching income. Now, bear in mind, I live in Arizona. Our income is not as high, but if I can do it, you can do it too. And if you'd like to be a social media manager or a social media strategist, I'd love to support you any way I can. If you're just starting out with freelancing, you should really work with Chloe first because she's going to build the foundations. Go join those Facebook groups, spend time listening in, joining conversations, and see how you can help those people. Even if you don't do any of that, definitely check out the Social Media Magic podcast. Now, the podcast is geared towards TPT sellers and teacherpreneurs to learn about their social media marketing. But honestly, the same thing I say to them, I'm also going to say to you, because you need to be building a brand as well as a social media manager to be able to get and retain clients and build that recurring client base. Again, so proud of you that you're on this freedom freelancing journey. Let me know if you have any questions about social media management. Happy to help you and support you however I can. Talk to you soon.